Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Metal Magdalene with Jet right here on Metal Messiah Radio. Today we have a special show for you. We have Mr. Ray Alder of Fates Warning. Welcome to the show, Ray.
Yay, that's me. Welcome. Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Ray, prior to Fates Warning, what were you doing and how did you get the gig with the band?
I was living in San Antonio, Texas, and I was really young and just kicking around a couple of local bands, Mm-hmm. My brother was a drummer in a couple of bands, and I just said, let me sing for you, let me sing. And he's like, you don't know how to sing, you've never sang in your life. And I was like, well, give it a shot, So that's basically how I started. And I remember the very first song I ever sang was Whiskey Man by Molly Hatchet. I'll never forget it. And that was the very first song, and I was singing out of a little PV Decade, a little 10-inch speaker, and it just went from there. It was never something I always wanted to do. It was just kind of a hobby. It was fun, singing with the local bands. We did covers and things like that, and that's basically what happened. And then Fates Warning came to San Antonio to play a concert, and they met this guy, John, who was the manager of one of the bands that I would later sing for. And when John Arch left the group, left Fates Warning, then the guys in Fates reached out to whoever they had met on the road, or anyone, to see if they had, this is internet. This is way before the internet or cell phones or anything, email. So they just called people that they had met and asked if they knew of any singers. And this guy, John, said, yeah, this guy's the singer for one of my local band, and maybe, you want to check him out. So that was it. And he came to me in secret and didn't want to tell the other band members that he was going behind their backs. And, and he was telling me too, just keep it under the table. I'm like, I don't feel right. This is weird. I feel like I'm, hiding from these guys. I think they would be happy for me. So anyway, worst come to worst, come to find out that this, Fates wanted to talk to me, and this guy John didn't want to let them talk to me because he said I'm his manager and you have to go through me. And then finally the guys called me, and they were like, this guy says he's your manager, and I go, no, he's not my manager. He's just a friend. He's a manager for my band. He books us. So it is a whole big thing. In the end, he said, the guys call me back and they go, he's going to call you and ask you to sign something. And they're like, don't sign anything. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? What's going on with this whole thing? So then that's exactly what happened. He called me and he said, you have to sign something. I said, I'm not going to sign anything. No, I'm a nobody, first of all. I'm not going to sign anything for anyone. So that's how it happened. And then, I flew out to Connecticut and sang for the guys, and that was it. And I ended up staying. They said if I wanted to join the band, I was going to live there. And I said, okay, well, I'll live here then. And that's what happened. And not cut to 32 years later.
How long did you live in Connecticut then?
Not long. Maybe a year and a half, maybe. That's not very long.
That's plenty for Connecticut, I think.
It was an interesting place. It really was.
So well, who were some of your musical influences then growing up that later led you to, be where you are today, singing for half your life, more than half your life?
More than half, yeah. When I was growing up, I liked that same thing everyone did. Iron Maiden, mm-hmm. Judas Priest, bands like that. And, one of my biggest influences was actually Steve Perry from Journey. Mm-hmm. He was such a great singer, and I always loved his voice, and I would wear the shoes like him and everything. He was my idol. But then I started getting into hard rock and, really digging that. And then, of all things, John Arch, the old singer for Fates Warning, was one of my favorite vocalists ever. I loved the band, and when he split, I was just the band's never going to be the same. I'm never going to listen to them again.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then go, well, you want an audition? What? Okay, whatever. So, there you go.
And like you said, over 30 years with the band now that you were I'm never going to listen to them again because no more John Arch.
Yeah.
So
I don't actually listen to us anyways. I really don't.
So Ray, You know, like you were saying before, this is like long before the internet and email and all that kind of crap. So what were like the early days of Fates Warning like for you and the band? Like, what was some of the shows you were playing, and what was it like? Because this was like, what, like your first big band, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first tour, first everything. Even for the guys, I'd never had a tour bus before. You know, like, so the first couple of shows we did were in Connecticut. I think around Connecticut, and I remember we played. What is it called? It was just on the tip of my tongue.
Like the Agora Ballroom or something like that?
Well, no, we didn't do the Agora when I was there for some reason. But we did like, in Brooklyn. Damn it, what's the name of the old place that everyone used to? L'Amour's.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
We did L'Amour's, and we did Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's
my goodness.
With Sabotage, I think.
Oh, wow.
And those were like the big shows for us. Those were like the biggest crowds I've ever played in front of. And that was a big deal for me. And then we got this Christmas metal meeting with, I think it was in '88, with Manowar.
Oh, boy.
And Lizzie Borden, I think. And it was like, so that was my first time ever in Europe. And that was with Manowar, 8,000, 10,000 people. And that was just amazing. It was one of the most amazing experiences ever. And at that point, I was like, hey, I kind of want to do this. I'm really digging this. It's kind of fun, So, I mean, that's it. And after all, of course, no internet. So everyone's just calling each other or sending, we would send cassettes back and forth when we were writing at that time. That's how it worked, And then, of course, the internet came around and we could send files back and forth. So that's how it worked out. It's cool.
So, Ray, how would you say that the band has progressed throughout the years?
Well, I mean, I think anyone that's followed us knows that, like, pretty much every album we do, it's different than the last. We try to change things up just, to keep it interesting for us as well as the fans. It's kind of, there's some bands out there that can do the same thing over and over, and people want that, but I think after a while, people that are fans of our band just know that we're going to do something different, and hopefully they look forward to it. But I mean, I'm sure the changes we've made over the years, we've probably lost some fans, but we've probably gained some as well. So, but that's the chance you take, when you try to be an artist, I guess, and do something different, and whatever pleases you at that time, which is like for instance, we did Parallels, which is one of our biggest albums ever. And then after that, everything got really crazy and weird with the band, and we just kind of split up and didn't talk for a long time. And then we did another album, which was Inside Out. And we basically, it seemed to me that we tried to match that album, match Parallels, like the mood and the songs similar, trying to, catchy and sort of trying to be radio friendly, sort of. And it just didn't work out for us. I mean, we didn't really want to go that route anymore. We did it, and we were happy with the album, but, we kind of wanted to do something different. And at that time, everything was changing. Music was changing. The radio was changing. Nobody was playing any, like, the music. I think it was becoming, at that point, it was probably grunge or like Nirvana, all that stuff was coming in and stuff. So nobody really cared at that point. Not about us, at least, so much. So that's when we decided to do, like, A Pleasant Shade of Grey, which is just like a really proggy album. It's 51 minutes. It's just one song. So we basically wrote that album for ourselves. We weren't looking for radio. We weren't looking for anything. And there were no names to the songs. It was just 1 through, I think, 11. So that's pretty much, that's how we've just always tried to keep it fresh for us, sort of like just to keep us entertained and, hopefully people like it.
And Ray, 30 years of singing. So how do you keep your voice going after all this time? I mean, do you have any bad habits? Do you smoke or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I smoke. I have an occasional cocktail. Yeah. I mean, I there's a lot of things I should probably do better for my voice, but I really don't. I mean, the one thing I've learned over all these years is I never used to rehearse, and then I would go out and throw my voice out within the first week of tour. And I did a lot of damage that way, you know.
Right.
I didn't know any better. I don't know, a lackadaisical attitude. I don't know. That's how I was. But, you know, ever since, you know, I've been in Spain, ever since I've been here, like, I go to a little studio and I rehearse, you know, 2-3 hours a day, a few times a week, keep the voice in shape. And that's definitely helped out. You know, I don't have the highs that I used to have anymore. That's just with time, you know, damage, time. I'm an old man, you know. I don't really like to sing that way anyway, you know. It was a long time ago. That was cool in the 80s,
Yeah.
you know. For you know, I'm not putting anyone down now, but that's just how it was. And I, you know, as a singer, I learned that you know, I didn't want to do that. I found my voice. I felt there's more soul in projecting than just screaming, you know, for me at least. And so I like where my voice is now. It's stronger, more mature.
Just like us.
Yeah.
So, Ray, we're here today to talk about your new album, Live Over Europe. So tell us a little bit about making this album and some of the shows it was recorded at.
Well, Jim had brought it up to me a while back, and, you know, he was like, what do you think about doing a live album? You know, it's been a long time. I said, yeah, it could be fun. He said, yeah, we could get a short tour out of it, play some places we haven't been in a while, and some places that we had with the tour already. We toured Europe like 3 times already, 2 or 3 times just for that album. So, you know, we said, yeah, let's play some of our favorite shows, some of our favorite countries, and see where it goes. And so we put it together, and it ended up being like 10 shows. And it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It was grueling, I'll tell you that. It was 10 shows in 11 days, a lot of traveling, and you know, I mean, we had the bus so we could sleep and things, but, you know, the shows are 2 hours long. Wow. So for me, I'm glad that I was in shape, and, you know, I was fine. I made it through the whole thing, and no problems at all, which was amazing because that had never happened. And usually someone gets sick on the road. It just happens. Somebody gets sick on the bus, and then everyone gets sick. It's just normal. It's just a given, you know. And so, but this time, I think, I don't know, maybe it was Mike, the guitar player, started to get sick. Somebody started to, but it never caught on. So we were like, oh, thank God. You know, but it was cool. And the fans were amazing. It was such a great turnout. We had a lot of sold-out shows, which is just, the support was overwhelming. It was really amazing to see. And, yeah, and we had a great time. And then in Athens was the last show. We ended up doing everything, every single song that we knew we did doing. It was like 2 hours. So whatever the album is, the length of the album is what we did that night. And I was just burned out, man. I couldn't go on anymore. I was like looking at the set list going, fuck, we have like 3 more? Like, Jesus Christ. But, you know, we made it through, and it was a really good time. And we hope people like it. You know, again, it was 20 years since we'd done a live album. And we thought, well, we had to go through the list of what was on the other live album. So we basically have to try and do everything that wasn't on that, you know. So we learned a few songs, and we had a good time with it. We really did. We hope the fans did, too.
What were some of the different places that you played at?
Let's see, Greece, Germany, I think Romania. I can't even think. Italy. It was 10 different places. Well, I think we played a couple of different shows in Germany, actually. Aschaffenburg, maybe Berlin or something like that. I think we did like 2 or 3 shows in Germany. It was Bulgaria, Romania. I really can't. I'm so sorry. No disrespect to those people. But it was a while back. But it was a really small venue, and maybe there was 300-400 people there, and it was packed. And you know, and we're playing the show, and they were so loud, man. It was crazy loud. How it was like such a feeling. You know, we're doing in the middle of the show, and I look down in the front row, look down in the audience, and there's the promoters standing there going nuts, Whoa. Singing every word. And I was like, dude, check it out, you know? Like, yeah, I really brought you guys here just for me,
just so he could see you.
Yeah.
So wait, so you already told us that some of the songs that you put on it were basically ones that you didn't have on other live albums, but, you know, is that how you went about choosing the songs to go on this album?
Well, that, and that we've had a few albums out since the live album that we've obviously never had the opportunity to put on a live album. So, we've done the last 2 albums. We did Dark as a Different Light and Theories of Flight we just did in the last 5 years, I guess, 6 years or something. Mm-hmm. So they were really excited to put those on the live album too, at least a couple. That's cool.
Now, how the hell did they put this all together? I mean, how long did it take to gather all, I mean, once you did this live thing, to get all these things together and put all this shit together, how long did that take?
Oh, months. It took months. Ugh. But, the crazy thing is Jim was the one that did it. Jim Matthias took, all the files. We had a guy, our sound guy, Renee, was with us, and we had a board, so we recorded every show, and we recorded sound checks, so there was so much material, hundreds of songs, and hundreds and hundreds. And Jim took them all home with him in his home studio and listened to every single track, single track, and pulled out the best of which ones he thought were best. And then from those, if there was a small mistake or something, he would take a piece from another show and put that in that one. Mostly me. Just so you know. And put that in. So the overdubs were, it's just comping. That's what we call it in the biz. When you comp a vocal, basically you do in the studio, you'll sing the song like 5 times. All the way, and then you listen to them back and you pull the pieces out and make a puzzle out of the best parts. A lot of times that's how a lot of bands do it. I don't know if that's how we do it sometimes. So that's basically what they did, comped a lot of tracks, and that was it. So for Jim, it was hundreds of hours of work. My God. It's really crazy.
It doesn't sound like fun to me.
No. It wasn't.
So what are the crowds like over, like in Europe compared to the USA crowds? The audiences in America are great as well. They're further apart, and there normally aren't as many people as there are in Europe. The fans in America are great. I can't say the ones the fans in Europe are the best in the world. They are amazing. Mm-hmm. The American fans are just as great, but it just seems, we haven't lost as much steam in Europe as we have in the States. I think there's a lot more going on in the States. I've said this before in interviews, that the people of Europe seem to have a real relationship with the bands that they like, and they'll stick with them forever and ever and ever. If you go to a festival, rock festivals here. For instance, in Europe, there's festival season. And there's festivals everywhere, all over the place, and people go from festival to festival. They can't. They sell out so fast. 80,000 people, and a lot of the bands on the schedules are older bands. A lot of older bands that people just dying to see. Oh, I can't wait to see them up there. I'm not going to throw out any names, but and you just don't see that in America. You really don't. So it's too bad. But again, no disrespect to my people, but it's just different here. People tend to stick with things a little longer. Now, do you know what formats the album's going to be released on?
LP. I'm actually getting some tomorrow. I haven't got anything yet. I'm getting CDs and LPs. Yeah, there's going to be, I think, colored vinyl and things, I think. But it's a double album, so there's 2 CDs.
So that means that there's going to be a lot of nice pictures and stuff.
There'll be some stuff on it, yeah.
No, what did you enjoy most about this album?
Doing the shows, being on the road. Being on the road with my friends, just seeing the guys. We don't see each other that often, obviously, until we work, because we all live in different, if not states, different countries, So, and it's great being with everybody and hanging out and being able to make music. And the guys are all super talented, and to be able to share the stage with those guys, it's an honor, man. It really is, and I'll. Forever, I don't really want to play with anybody else,
Right.
Just especially live. That's the thing. So that's pretty much it. And the fans, of course, are amazing, and I'll keep going as long as we can, I guess.
I was just gonna ask you that. I mean, the band's been around for 30 years. Can we expect you to be around for the next 30?
I don't know. don't know about that. I'm not Mick Jagger.
Well, you never know. You never know. Mm-hmm. So, hey, you guys released a pre-release song. Everybody loved Firefly. I mean, even after all these years. When you get up on stage, what are, like, some of the crowd favorites that you do that they go berserk over when they start hearing the first couple of notes?
It's always it always seems anything from Parallels goes over, right? It just always is. It's one of our biggest albums, but to this day, it's, as old as that album is, people still love hearing anything off that album. And that's great. And another surprising thing is A Pleasant Shade of Grey. When we do songs off of that album, people just seem to, they know every word, and they love it, And it's really surprising for an album that never had a single or had a single song. It's just kind of one long album, and we just pick parts out here and there and do them. So, I mean, it's cool. And, one of the highlights for me is the new stuff. Because, I don't know if you're the same, but most people, when they go to a concert, they see the band, they want to hear the old stuff. And a lot of older bands do albums because they want to, they still enjoy the art.
Right.
And to them and to us, it's like, wow, we're really proud of this new stuff, and we want to play it for you guys. And most people are like, hey, do that one song from 15 years ago. I want to hear that one. And they wait for you to they're like, they'll listen to it, and they're like, yeah, they're kind, and go, okay, that was cool. Next, give me the other one. But the really surprising thing was these last two albums, we do the new songs, and people go nuts, and they sing every word.
Nice. Wow.
And it's really amazing to see. I mean, it's really amazing to see for an album that just came out when we first started doing, Theories of Flight in Europe and in America. Mm-hmm. People were just loving the new stuff, and it was it's a great feeling to know that people really, really like the new music, and that's you can't ask for more than that. You really cannot.
And Ray, besides the Fates Warning stuff, are you involved in any other things musically?
Kinda, but that's to be seen later, I guess. I haven't really said anything about it yet.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Well, there you guys have it. Fates Warning has a new live album out June 29th on InsideOutMusic. And Ray, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and tell us about the album, yourself, and the early days of the band here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.